Sarah, I forgot the light again, so I'm in the dark.
You really are. It's not
Sorry. I'm not, but we have this one here. It's really low budget. But remember, like, one of our early pods, they're like, why is the black guy in the dark?
Yeah, and I was like, he does the lighting. I'm so sorry. I asked him if he would come up here with me. He wants to do the switching of the camera, so he has to stand there.
Sorry, guys, but we're back, Sarah.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Dirtying the Frame. And for our listeners, now we have listeners, which I'm very excited about. We were just referring to the fact that my co-host and partner Assad is not well lit today, but that's okay. We're about to get lit.
Yes.
No, okay, I'm so sorry.
Have you watched CBS shows your whole life? They've never known how to light black people. Just picture it's on CBS.
Yeah, just pretend we're on NBC, CBS. Welcome to Dirtying the Frame. We have an exciting episode today. Assad is over the moon because of the young lady right here. And more than the young lady is the tank top that the young lady is wearing. We have a review of the Marvels.
The tank top the young lady's wearing, which one? Which young lady's tank top?
I know. I brought a pink tank top instead of a white tank top for my Marvels review today.
We were reviewing our podcast and seeing how to grow it because, you know, every business has to grow. And we're like, should we get better at podcasting or should Sarah wear less?
And Assad said, I need to grow my boobs if I want to grow our podcast. So I've got an appointment on Thursday.
Ratings, here we come. It's good to see you, man. It's good to be back potting. We took a break, right?
Yeah, well, you're a world traveler. Where have you traveled to? Before we quickly, briefly tell us where you've traveled to before we get into
Yes, I performed in London, then from London went to hang out with my mom in Spain.
That's so cool.
My family. It was cool, man. It was cool. For the DTF listeners, swimmers who are members of our Patreon and YouTube membership, the last couple, like 3 pods, we've been out of the country. We don't normally travel this often. You just kind of caught us at a weird time. We're not world travelers.
Speak for yourself. I travel all the time.
Me and Sarah are amazing racers. And
I'm always on a yacht.
All right. Okay, but I'm back.
Welcome. Okay, we will get into this movie, I promise. We went and saw the Marvels. It came out this weekend, and we are excited to talk to you about it. I have been feeling a little bit down on all of the MCU properties. I've not been super stoked on it. But this one, you know, we went and saw it for you.
We did.
We went and saw it for you.
Don't say we've never done anything for you.
Yeah, I expect a gift in return. Please mail us a light. We are gonna I'm gonna give the log line first for the movie The Marvels. Assad, where did you see The Marvels?
Ooh, I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse. I know I hipped you to that theater, to which you took it over, and now you think it's yours. So when I go there, you're like, what are you doing at my theater? But I'm the one that hipped you to it. Do I sound resentful?
I'm resentful. I was pissed when you told me you went and saw it at the Alamo.
Guys, Alamo Drafthouse has the best salted caramel shake in the world, man. I would go see, you know, all the Marvels there. That's how good it is.
You did go see all the Marvels there. No, it was, it feels like it's my turf. And I went late the next day and showed them your picture. And I said, if this man tries to come here, you call me and I'll give you the okay or the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Did they call? Super walking Phoenix and Gladiator.
Actually, I've never seen that movie. Anyways, okay, I also saw this movie at the Alamo, I think maybe the day before or after you did. And here's our logline. Brie Larson wears a tank top. The end. Sit your dumb ass down. Carol Danvers gets her powers entangled with those of Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, forcing them to work together to save the universe.
Oh.
What do we think? Are you in? Based on the log line? Yeah.
No, it fucking sucks.
Okay, great. But yeah, I agree. Nothing really grabs you. We have decided, based on Assad's suggestion, that we're going to add a little fun to our I don't know, itinerary here. Yep. And we're going to give a one-word summary. You ready? We're going to count to 3. We're both going to say our one word that summarizes our feeling of this movie.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Surprise.
Surprising. Oh.
Did you say surprising?
I said surprising. That this is the first time we've done that. We didn't plan that, guys.
It's disgusting how much alike we are.
I'm sorry.
Really gross.
I've tried to differ my style now that I shaved the facial hair to look like a pedophile. What do you think?
I don't think you're allowed to say that word within the first 30 seconds to a minute of YouTube streaming. So hopefully we're past that.
Want some candy?
Yes, I do. I was actually thinking I wish I would have brought some candy.
Yeah, surprising.
Surprising.
Crazy that we both landed on that.
Wait, were you saying you tried to change up your appearance from mine, so you shaved your face?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
We get confused often. Why surprising for you, Sarasota?
First thoughts. This was pretty fun.
What the fuck? It kind of was.
Right? It was probably the most fun I've had in a Marvel movie since The Snap.
I know
Am
what
I
you're
wrong?
saying. I know what you're saying, but it sounded like once people got snapped and disappeared, you were like, this is fun.
Yeah, it was. I was like, thank God it's
Fucking
over.
hate Peter Parker. I wanted him to dissolve for 2 hours.
He's the only one I like. Yeah, no, I think after seeing Ant-Man and Guardians 8, I was just so down, and like they're just trying so hard and they can't recreate the magic that they had with Robert Downey Jr., which I still don't think they can, but this gave me a little bit of hope for the next generation of Marvel movies. Do you have a first thought?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback with you. This is, everything has been not medium, not average, but bad for Marvel in the last maybe 7 to 9 films. This whole fourth, what do they call it? Quarter? I don't know. And with my renewed expectations of Marvel movies, you know, it's a lot lower, substantially lower now for Marvel movies. This was the first movie I saw with those renewed lowered standards where I'm like, actually, this isn't bad. And I went from going into Marvel movies to being like, how good is this movie going to be for about 2 years? And then about the recent 2 years, I've been going to Marvel movies like, why do I still go see these with lower standards? Like, how bad this is going to be? And this is the first movie, surprisingly, that I was like, actually, did I enjoy most of this movie? So yeah, first thoughts are similar to yours. You know, we have to disagree more. Our pod's just becoming one person.
Well, no, I think that generally speaking, I think our swimmers can attest that you're always just a hater and you hate all movies, and that I'm positive and happy and so fun to watch.
I was happy when Titanic sunk.
I was happy at the snap, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think the reason that I liked Marvel movies in the first place was because they were fun and funny, and there was a little bit of action, and there was a kind of a cool story, and then it was that, right? It was like, it wasn't this big, you knew you were gonna have a good time when you went to the theater, right? You didn't have to be like, oh man, am I gonna cry in this? Is it gonna be hard to understand or follow? It was just fun and light and action-packed and a great time at the movies, which I like to do every once in a while. You know, I like the diversity in film as you know, going to see a drama, going to see a comedy, whatever, but you knew what you were gonna get, and it was gonna be like a really lots of big explosions and lots of laughs and like an interesting, cool story and what's going to happen. And to your point, it just has gotten so bogged down and like trying to set up for the next story and trying to make these like otherworldly, trying to make the storylines more. And it just, I haven't cared for them. This one felt like the first sign of hope of going back to a lighter time. Happier time.
Yeah, I agree. And it wasn't a good film, right? Like, again, it's like renewed standards for Marvel films, but I'll probably forget these 3 main things where we're talking about Marvel on a whole, that it's facing a couple problems. One, it's just a talent drought, you know? The first time they had Avengers, they had fucking Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey, you know, Chris Evans, you know, Chris Evans? Yeah, I get my Chris's mixed. And that cast was so good. It's just so hard to replace that. And like I always tell Sarah, second seasons for TV or second albums or whatever, the surprise factor is gone. So it's so hard to recreate the like surprise you had when you first saw something. And to see those Avengers in like downtown New York City all together was a really special moment. So it's hard that they've just been playing catch up after that, you know? That's one. Two, you know, superhero movies, you see this seems too much now in Marvel movies. You know, it's like bad guy gets introduced, superstar has to do this, beat them, it's over. There's a stinger at the end. And the seams are so apparent now in Marvel movies because we've seen so many of them, it's hard to make anything new. That's number 2. 3 is you have to do, and this has been made pretty public by a lot of people, but it's very true. Now, Marvel movies, you have to feel like you have to do homework going into the movie. You have to know, like, oh, did I watch that Marvel series? Did I watch the last 4 movies that had like a 10-second clip that makes sense now in this like Team Marvel. What's the fucking this movie
The
called? The
Marvels.
Marvels. You know, and not only that, for that variable of having to know all of that, it actually makes your movie opportunities a lot smaller when you're having to appease 7 different storylines and not just one.
Yes.
When you have that much going into a movie with that much backstory, with having to tag into like other different worlds and universes and other teammates and other superheroes, it's like telling someone to paint a picture with only using green, you know? You just limit so many options, and Marvel's really had an issue with that, and it's just because they're victims of their success. They hit it big with this combined world, and now it's getting smaller and smaller the more they add it, which is very ironic, you know?
Yeah, that's very well said. Thank you. I agree, and I think that they did a little bit of that in this film for sure. Like, I don't follow any of the Disney series because I was like, I tried at the beginning with you because you were watching them, and I was like, this is not for me. Like, this is not good.
This is not good.
This is not, what's the word? Good.
Good.
And you could tell that they did a little bit of that with this. Like, everybody got their own flashback, right? Anyways, we won't, get too into it. We are going to spoil this movie. So
Yes.
if you haven't yet seen it and you plan to, turn us off and come back after you've seen the movie and see, if you kind of had some of the same thoughts. But
And there's a chance when you come back, Sarah's boobs might be bigger.
That's not how it works.
Okay, all right. Just play along. It's ratings, Sarah. This is show business. Do you want to be a superstar?
They might be bigger. This is terrible. This is terrible for
Sorry.
women.
Okay.
And we're just about to talk about. Are you ready? Now I can't even go into my next segment because you just denigrated women.
I'm
You
sorry.
feel good about yourself?
I feel very good.
Would you feel better if I had double T's? Sorry, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 words after we've given our 1 word.
Yes.
Black female director.
Is that right? I didn't know this. I'm sorry that my homework wasn't better for this specific episode. I saw Marvel and I'm like, I could fuck my way through it. But it's a black female director, huh?
Yeah, Nia DaCosta, which I don't. Apparently she's like a really great director. I haven't seen any of her other films. She's done a couple shorts and a couple of feature-length films. But when I saw the name at the end, I was like, oh, a woman, yes. And then I Googled her and I was like, yes, a black woman.
Cool. She wrote it too. She was one of the writers too.
Was she?
Yes.
Cool.
One of the writers.
I mean, great job, Nia, and great job, Disney, for giving her the job.
Yes.
She did a great job. The chemistry in this film is what made it work, I thought. I think that somebody up at Disney, Marvel, heard our podcast. And they
Yes.
were like, oh, Brie Larson's boring? You don't say. Let's give her some sidekicks. What?
List of things we do not do on this pod, and that's disrespect the Caucasian queen, Brie Larson.
The Caucasian queen. That was me. You called me that this morning. You texted me and you said, hello, my Caucasian queen.
my black friends are going to kill me for that. We got to edit that out. Okay.
Wait, why?
I can't call a white woman a queen, Sarah. I can't do it. We got to edit that out. But keep going.
I edit these pods, so I'll decide what gets edited out. Probably that wink for sure will get edited out.
Really creepy.
Okay, so Brie Larson, as we've discussed before, is a little vanilla on screen. Remember, we're audio now too, so you got to talk. You can't just make faces into the camera when you're upset with me. You got to yell at me verbally. And I felt like, oh, it must not just be us who noticed that she was kind of not that sparkly, she didn't have that je ne sais quoi that Scarlett has, that, some of the other big stars have. And so they gave her some castmates with actual comedic timing and personality. Thank you. Thank you, Bob Iger. Thank you to whoever made that decision.
Feige.
Yeah, maybe Kevin Feige. All right. I don't know who's making the decisions over there. But yeah, I thought that worked really well. And I think that the power switching worked a lot for me. So the idea is that like Brie Larson's powers somehow get tangled up. I don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't care. This is the stuff with Marvel movies. I'm like, I don't need to understand why the Tesseract is here or why this woman has these powers or whatever. But something happens. There's like some sort. Can you explain it?
I can't, but I think I'll take a hack at it here. There's a a lightning explosion, I believe, when Monica Rambeau, played by Tiana Paris, is in space, and somehow that light explosion links to the light powers of Captain Marvel, who uses also same light-based powers as Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan, I'm sorry, and her powers are light-based as well. So in some way, and we're butchering this, some way those three get entangled in this light-based powers, and now they're switching each other's powers every time they use it. They just randomly hop to where the other person was using the power, and they're like, that's bad. That's a bad explanation. I'm sorry, guys.
No, but and I think it's the villain somehow made the big hole, right? That Monica was up there to replace.
And to be honest, like, I'm with Sarah on this. I want to piggyback and say, you don't have to explain these powers to me. It's a superhero movie. Give me one sentence so you feel good about about writing it, but just say light-based powers in the X-morphous atmosphere, and then I'm like, okay, cool, man. It's a superhero movie. I don't need to explain it too much more.
Right. I'm already ready to extend my power of disbelief. Super far, because I've never met somebody who has superpowers like this, so I'm already like, okay, I'm in. I'm bought into the universe already when I get there. You don't need to give me like a scientific, list of why this could actually be real.
There's no scientist in the Marvel crowd like Neil deGrasse Tyson be like, that doesn't add up.
Well, he probably
That's not how light works.
But I liked that. I thought it added a new level of intrigue, and I think it also added a lot of, which I'm a victim of as well, like TikTok editing to it, like quick, lots of quick cuts, lots happening on screen to keep you interested and keep you paying attention, I guess.
Yes, very much so. And in the movie, obviously, you get introduced. If you watched Miss Marvel on Disney Plus, you're familiar with Kamala Khan, who's actually a mutant. I don't want to spoil it. She's not a superhero. Well, superhero, but she has mutant powers.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought her powers only came from that bracelet.
Ooh, this is where we get into tricky water. I'm sorry that I don't know more about it.
That's okay. You don't have to explain it.
I get chicks. So fast forwarding that idea. So you get introduced to all three of these. Monica Rambeau, who you saw probably in WandaVision, who got her powers from another light explosion that Wanda was doing on there. That you all get introduced to these three very early in the film, and like Sarah says, the pressure's off for Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Which we make jokes a lot about on this podcast about Brie Larson. I was with everyone else, and when I saw Captain Marvel, and I was like, oh, she doesn't do it for me. And then for some reason, something clicked, and I was like, oh, I kind of get it. It's like bland, and I don't expect a lot out of it, and now I kind of like her, But yeah, they did a good job of adding these other two women who will probably go into how much one of them completely ran away with the fucking movie.
So you were saying that she's a mutant, which I didn't quite understand, and I thought it was just that she had gotten this bracelet from her grandma and that it had powers. But then obviously when she, again, spoiler alert, when the bracelet gets stolen from her, she still had her powers. So I just kind of brush over that and go, oh, a cat.
Yeah. If you want to do it, we should do it. Let's see. Carol Danvers reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taking revenge on the Supreme Intelligence, but an unintended consequence is to see Carol shouldering the burden of a destabilized universe. When her duties send her to an anomalous wormhole linked to a Kree revolutionary, her powers become entangled with that of Jersey City superfan Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, and Carol's estranged niece, now Saber astronaut Captain Monica Rambeau.
Cool.
Good. Thanks for the context, Assad. This podcast is so much better because of that now.
I was like, how long is this going to take? But overall, I think that we both enjoyed it. It was fun. It was almost, and now I do, as I said on here a million times, I do think that the expectations will determine, for the most part, if you like a movie or not. Like, I went in with zero expectations. Brie Larson, there's one scene before she kind of gets in with the other girls and starts to have her little sidekicks, where she and, Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, sorry, that's like a really bad thing to not know. All the Marvel fans are going to kill me. She and Nick Fury are like they get together and he's explaining there's been a problem, and she's kind of got a couple of quippy lines where she's trying to be funny. And I was like, oh man, no, not working. Just not working. And I was like, oh, I just kept picturing every line she said. My recast for her is Kristen Bell. I think Kristen Bell would have been so much more charming, so funny. And I'm hoping that she gets something soon because I don't understand why she's not in this universe at all.
Make no mistake, these two movies are hilarious with Kristen Bell.
Hilarious.
Hilarious with Kristen Bell.
But maybe that's not what they're going for. But you know, it's like that Robert Downey Jr. thing is what I'm always going after for these movies. Like the quirky, the quip, the comedic timing. She ain't got it. She ain't got it. Sorry.
There's a weird in between because not everybody's going to be Robert Downey Jr. No one is except for him. But even Chris Evans did the Captain America thing that I think Captain Marvel's trying to do, where it's like he's not an animated person, he's not a funny person, but he actually acts well and knows the person he is. So you can put him in funny situations about him being frozen in ice for 4,000 years, and he can respond funny because he knows timing, you know?
Yes.
So he doesn't have to be a funny character. And I don't think, you know, Batista in Guardians of the Galaxy has funny lines, but he's not a funny character. He does. I'm sorry. He's not a funny character, but he's just so serious. But he understands the person. And Captain Marvel, I don't know who that person is.
Right.
Not the actor playing it, but like who is Captain Marvel? I don't know what she is, you know?
No, I totally agree. That's why I say vanilla. Like, there's no who are you? What's your thing? And even Scarlett Johansson. Let's to kind of piggyback onto what you're saying. Scarlett Johansson her character's not funny.
No.
But she still commands.
Yes.
You know, and you still are interested in what she has to say, and I still think she lights up a screen, and I'd still go see a movie with her leading it, a Marvel movie with her leading it.
I would say now that they added these two additions to make this trio of Marvel. The Marvel trio. I don't know, the Marvels. Brie Larson even works better for me now. It's like, oh, cool. You can be a little more stale with these people around you.
100%.
I know they did it, like you said, to maybe cover the gaps in the humor in the film and add a little bit more energy and a little bit more punchy dialogue and wit. But now I'm like, oh, Brie Larson can actually be even more stale, and it works now in this trio.
100% agree. 100% agree. What did you think about the world that they created for this? Because a big gripe of mine in Ant-Man Quantumania was that the world sucked, bro.
You're being kind of a cinephile right now, and I dig it, because that's a huge thing for me. Is like the world building of movies.
It was just like, it looked like you were in someone's nostril for an hour and a half. Like, it was so strange. It didn't look cool. Like, it was like, and I bet they spent millions of dollars on it because it was all CGI. Or maybe they just put them in front of a screen like this. I have no idea. But
I do.
Oh, was it a psych wall, the whole movie?
Yeah,
was like
you know,
the
and
whole
this
thing?
is like, I try to do this pod and not get too nerdy, because I think most of our listeners are not film nerds like us. You know,
I'm
they just
certainly
kind of
not
stay
a
on
film
the level of it. But yeah, the way these Marvel films are shot, the last 20 of them is like in a soundstage in Atlanta in front of a green wall. There's a really cool clip of Gwyneth Paltrow on a cooking show with Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau's like, remember when you were in Spider-Man? She's like, I was in Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Because the way Marvel films is like, they have so many movies they're making, or they used to. They only have one scheduled to release next year, so they've slowed down production. But the way they used to film all these movies were in bits and not in movies. It's like, oh, well, Gwyneth Paltrow's here, let's throw her in these 4 movies in Atlanta. And so like even the actors don't know what movies they're in. And what's kind of a bummer, and this is where I'm being kind of a cinephile and like kind of snobby about it, I miss fucking locations, man. I miss you shooting at a real location.
Yeah.
And like, we've talked about CGI before right now, that it's like, it's hard to do well at a good cost. So every movie's like this that isn't a really huge budget, even though it was a big budget movie, it's not gonna have great CGI. So it's tough to just be like, okay, get all of our actors in front of a green screen in front of 2 hours, do something in the background, and then have them live there. I would rather, I'm going on a tangent, sorry, Sarah. I would rather, honestly, 2 things. I would rather you stay on Earth, you know, and just film like somewhere that's like slightly, you know.
And that's your time.
And that's my time.
Sorry.
You know, but I'd rather it stay on Earth and then have them in, you know, something made up.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. And Doctor Strange, I mean, there was a lot of like fantastical stuff, but that's, like you said earlier, them walking down New York, you know, down in like Times Square in New York was a big part of the excitement of it, right? You're seeing these fantastical creatures and like Spider-Man in Brooklyn and stuff. And I don't mind a little bit of, you know, okay, they're on another planet now, but like, it is nice not to spend, it's just not fun to look at. Ant-Man was not fun to look at. It was like a beige world with big blobs everywhere, which is how I imagine the inside of my nose looks. So that's why I said that. But this one, they did a pretty good job. I think there was a lot of different locations, which I think for me it's like that variety, right? It's like I don't know, in a cabaret show when someone comes out and like does a bunch, or like a concert when people come out and they change their outfit a bunch. Like that's cool, right? We want to see Taylor Swift wear 5 different dresses in a show and not just come out and wear the same thing. We want to see, you know, different set pieces. And if you're going to sit me down for 2 hours, I would like to look at a variety of different things and not just that boring, you know, one note background. So I thought that this, I thought that this was bright and visually interesting, and that helped to add to my liking of the film as well. And the switching led to that, if you will, you know, like helped with that. So, you know, one second you're on a spaceship with Carol, and then the next second you're in a living room with the Kamala's family, which is like super fun and funny as well. So I liked that as well.
I will say this movie had to do a lot of reshoots, and the script went through a couple of rewrites. I'm going to give my 30 seconds on it, and I would like Sarah to kind of go into reshoots too. 95% of the time, if you hear your movies going through reshoots, it's like dum dum dum. It's never a good sign. Some movies, I forgot what it was recently. I heard about it was doing a lot of reshoots and it ended up being a really good movie. But that just means something's not working.
In the edit, yeah.
In the edit, or you didn't get something, or like you got something, you're like, oh, we hate it, you know? Because it costs the studio more money. You have to bring actors out again. You have to set up everything. It's like, it's really expensive, but that means something didn't work. And this went through like 4 or 5 rounds of reshoots. Any opinions on reshoots, Sarah?
Well, yeah, I think with big movies like this, they're always built into the contract, right? Everyone knows there's going to be reshoots on a big movie like this, period. I think the question then becomes, like, how extensive are the reshoots, right? So if you're getting called for 3 months of reshoots and then you're going home and you're like, okay, cool, we're done with reshoots. And then you get called for another 3 months reshoot. Then you're like, oh, are we in trouble here? You know, it's like when you go to your favorite store and they're out of everything. And then you're like, okay, that's weird. And then you go again. Or like, this has happened at restaurants I worked at. You know, you show up and you're like, hey, we're out of all of our beers. Like, what's going on? They're like, oh, I don't know, just late shipment or whatever. And then 2 weeks later, you come in and you're out of more stuff and you're out of all these items. You're like, am I going to have a job tomorrow? Like, is this restaurant closing? That's how I feel about reshoots. They're not always a bad death sentence. It's just, from what I understand, I've never been a part of something this big, but that's my guess on it.
Should we get into maybe like, I don't know, I guess this is like around second act, or should we get into Kamala? What are you going to get into?
I have some more notes.
Go ahead, please.
I was just sitting over here looking at Brie Larson's famous tank top here.
Yes.
And I'm noticing from this picture that...
From this angle, can you look at her? Can you guys act like you're looking at each other? No? More turning. I think more turning.
Is it this way?
Yeah, even more so.
This way?
No, you were right the first time, but yeah, yeah, there we go. Talk to her.
Girl, you look great.
Thank you.
Girl, you look fucking great. No, I'm like, where do I get me one of these tank tops? It has this like seam that goes this way. And anyways, this is not interesting to listen to, but I just was watching her. There was a musical drop in this movie. Assad, do you have any idea what musical drop I might be talking about? I'll give you a hint.
Like a music song, or you're talking musical? Which one?
Yes.
So not a song they played.
Memories all alone in the moonlight.
Yeah, there was when Carol Danvers. Let me speech up in the movie. They all regroup. Carol Danvers and Saber Monica Rambeau. Last time she saw her, Monica Rambeau was a little child. She's like, "Why didn't you come back?" And Carol had some trouble on another planet where they called her the Annihilator and was embarrassed and didn't want to come back. So they kind of have a little bit of friction of like, wow, I haven't seen you in a long time. Kamala Khan is the comic relief. She's just happy to be there. She's a super fan of Captain Marvel. And they have to go to another planet for I don't know the reason. And right when I'm like, ooh, I'm like 50 minutes in, I think this is a decent movie. I'm very surprised. Marvel, the directors, the writers take a big swing here, and it really, really missed for me. Like stuff that I would probably walk out of a movie for. I didn't. I don't want to be dramatic, but it missed so bad. Go ahead and explain, Sarah.
They play the song "Memories" over this montage of a bunch of kittens.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to ask you before. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. That's okay. Where did you think we were that you were going to walk out? I would love to hear that.
There's an actual musical number.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we can go in order. They go to this planet because she is the princess there.
Yeah, she married someone to help them get, I don't know, citizenship there?
Mm-hmm. She married a king, apparently. This was so weird. So they all go to this other planet. She's like, okay, we got to go see my husband. And they're like, what? You're married? And she's like, it's purely for, diplomatic reasons. And so they go to this like really bright country. And I was like, oh, cool. Or planet. Everyone's dressed really pretty and it's like bright and sunshine and it's cool. And they all welcome their new princess or their old princess, Carol Danvers. And they're like singing this weird song to her. They're like, welcome home, princess. And you're just like, what is happening? This is so weird. And I thought, oh, maybe that's just how they welcome their. And then she goes on to explain to her other Marvels, her Captain Rambeau and Ms. Marvel, that this is a singing planet and that they only understand you if you sing. So I'm thinking like this is right up Sarah's alley, right? Like Sarah loves a musical. Sarah loves this movie so far. Okay, great. This is good. We're going to sing. It was really weird and really bad and really and Brie really stuck out like a sore thumb in this particular part of the film. Did you agree? Like she was supposed to be like friendly with her husband and like they're like, oh, she's like, oh, he's like, he's my best friend. We're just friends. We're friends. And then they like do this dance and then she sings a song and it was just really weird. Missed me with it. Could have taken it out. I think they were just trying to make it more fun. It was a cool swing. It just didn't really connect.
Yeah, and this is right in the, it's a bad part of the movie, but I was having fun up until then because up until then you're getting this like essentially a buddy cop movie with three women, like that are really, really funny. And you're like kind of getting in the swing of it. It's like, oh, cool, man. They're kind of getting their groove together. They're playing off of each other. And you're kind of like, oh, I can sit in the next hour and a half with these three. They're going to take care of a movie fairly well. But this was the kind of decision that was like, every movie has a bit, and sometimes they last 30 seconds, sometimes they last 40 minutes, but this is the type of bit where as soon as you hear it, you're like, how long are we going to be here?
Yeah.
How long are we going to be in this bit? Because this is a big swing, and it's tough. And I wanted to ask you, it's hard to really seriously critique Marvel films, because in the back of my head, I'm always like, at the end of the day, it's made for kids, man. It's not made for some old creep like me, and maybe this is working for kids, but I don't even think kids think this shit is funny. It missed for me, but the movie still hummed along after. It was just a huge fucking miss.
Yeah, I agree. A world that I did love living in was the family of Iman Vellani, the actress who plays Kamala Khan.
The Khans are hilarious.
They all knocked it out of the park. I loved it. It was a little bit reminiscent of, how when we saw Blue Beetle, we really liked that about Blue Beetle.
Yes.
We really liked kind of the family being this kind of like bumbling along for the ride, always there because they care so much about their family member who's a hero, and like somewhat embarrassing the hero and just doing things that like families do. And I thought they just knocked it out of the park. I loved the mom, the dad, and you meet them immediately. Like they're really early on in the movie. She's Kamala is sitting there, drawing, and her whole room's covered in Captain Marvel stuff, which is, it was beautifully decorated, and you just get a little bit of kind of their dynamic of the mom and the daughter and the older brother who potentially lives at home still. I don't know. He had a wedding ring on, so that was unclear, but
I think we didn't, a lot of probably fans are yelling at us because we didn't watch Miss Marvel.
Oh, were they all in that?
I would assume so. I didn't watch Miss Marvel, but I assume like the way they introduced them in this movie, it's kind of felt like you kind of seen them or you should know them already,
Cool.
There weren't names or anything like that. So yeah, it's probably like a bunch of like Marvel fans like, yeah, we already knew this about their family, but that was our introduction because we didn't watch Miss Marvel.
Right, and I think probably a lot of people haven't watched Miss Marvel,
Fuck no.
the show. With this movie and how much, I mean, we'll get into it a little bit more, but like we both really loved her, man. Iman Vellani, who played Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, is phenomenal. Just like charming. She got comedic timing. She's a good actress. I believed everything she said. She was beautiful. She was cool. She was like, I just bought everything she was selling, and I loved. Without her, I don't know that this movie would have worked. So thank you for blessing us with your presence, and please, please do more movies. I think this was, I can't imagine anyone seeing this and not having that same conclusion that she really stole the show.
She ran away with this film, and she was so good in it, not to keep pointing out the bad parts, but I don't even think Monica Rambeau's that good of a character or maybe that strong of an actor in this. So she was so good that like, she was funny enough and added so much to the dynamic of the three that she kind of lifted the other two's performance, She's like this, and what it's reminiscent of is like how we met Tom Holland in Spider-Man. You're like this young person with this great ability, and you're still very fucking thrilled to be saving the world with other superheroes,
Yeah.
And it's very relatable as a kid going through this, She just crushed it. I wanted to ask you, do you think as a child, I don't know how old she is. I should research it.
I think she's actually 21 in real life.
That's what I
somewhere
kind of thought. Was like she's probably a lot older than what she's playing. But do you think like there's a lot less fear in a younger performer like that on a big movie like this? Because there's a couple times like the America character in Doctor Strange didn't work for me. She's probably a young Avenger. Haley Steinfeld in the Hawkeye works for me, but she's a phenomenal actress.
She's great, huh?
Does it help to be younger in these movies where you kind of don't know how the gravity of these situations, like you're in a $500 million movie?
Maybe. I would say that she already led a show, so she probably is kind of comfortable already,
Yeah.
And who knows what I haven't looked up her previous work, but I certainly will after this because I really did think she really nailed it. And you're right. I think she was the glue. And you brought up earlier that it was like they all had kind of a different space that they filled. So it worked so well, right? She had this like big, huge crush and like talent crush kind of on like Captain Marvel. And then you've got Monica, who's smart and really understands earthly type of science and things like that. And is more grounded, and not as like funny, but is mad at Carol most of the time. And then you've got Carol who's just kind of like laid back and wearing basketball shorts for some reason, and just like yeah, I'm the annihilator.
You don't think Brie Larson hoops like that?
I don't know. That was so weird. I was like, what is she wearing in this movie? Like, when they were all practicing their thing, they were all on her spaceship, I guess.
Yeah.
And she was just like wearing these like oversized basketball shorts and maybe that tank top as well.
I thought that was kind of cool choice.
I thought she looked very cool, but it was just, I was like, whose shorts are those? Like, when women wear big baggy basketball shorts like that, it's usually like your boyfriend's basketball shorts. Like, who's sleeping over at Captain Marvel's spaceship?
Looked like Bruce Banner size. I don't want to let Black Widow know, but hey, can I get to a point? Are you done there?
Sure, yeah.
Sorry, are you done?
Are you done talking yet so I can talk?
I wanted to talk about kind of the structure of the film. It's boring, but like it's a problem Marvel always has. Where it's like they've had such good villains in Thanos and what I thought was Killmonger. The Marvel movies always kind of end up only being as good as the villain. And when they introduce this villain, it's tough, man. You don't really know the villain. You're not really even sure of the plight the villain's on, what they want and why they want it. And that's only because, like we touched on it before, and I won't nitpick, but like these Marvel films, this one specifically had to tie in the last movie. It had to give you backstory on Monica Rambeau and Captain Marvel's relationship. It had to introduce Kamala Khan and give her family some time. Nick Fury's actually a character in this. You have a lot of kitten time in this. And then you have to meet a new villain, and then you have to have closure with that villain. And so this movie takes on a lot for a movie that's under 2-hour runtime. And you can tell it's edited down and it's weirdly edited. And that's just like how the superhero movies work right now, because they have to take on so much in such a short amount of time, and it's such a copy and paste thing. Like, meet this villain, they want to take over the world, this is their motivation. And I would say, for how much I really enjoyed the three women and them playing with each other, this villain is it's just a complete miss, man.
Yeah. So I was very excited that we had 3 female leads, a female director, and a female villain. So we've got 4 females leading this film, not a lot of men. I heard only 1 white man in the entire film. I can't back that up, but that's what I heard. So that's cool. I mean, maybe not including background actors, but yeah. So I unfortunately, the villain, from the second she was on screen, from the second we were introduced to her, I was like, this isn't working for me. You're not working for me. Now, again, let me clarify. I will tell you when I think someone's a bad actor. I don't think she's a bad actor. I think she's a great actress. I think that, Brie, I think you're also a great actress. I think they're really, really talented. And I think I have a good grasp on that. But the whole thing didn't work. It seemed like they were going for a Khaleesi vibe with her.
Yeah.
Really pretty. Also heard, didn't Google it, so it could be true or not true, that she's married to Tom Hiddleston in real life.
Oh, no kidding. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just in this universe, though.
Just in this timeline, she is. But in the other timeline, Tom and Taylor really made a go of it.
You okay? You feel like you went somewhere there. You all right? You need a minute? I think with her character, you can tell when you're watching the villain, which is what's her name? I think Dar-Ben is the villain's name. Mm-hmm. You can tell she had a lot more camera time, and it just got edited down.
Oh, is that what you think happened?
I felt like that. I don't know for sure, but it felt like, there was so much more to this character, but the film had to take on so much that you had to make sacrifices. You know, there's even a part where, I don't want to spoil at the end, that Monica Rambeau has a closure to her journey that I'm like, oh, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh, I wrote that down too.
Okay, all right. Should we get, well, before we get there, can we make sure we revisit that? Because that's important to me. But I wanted to talk about, before we get there, I'm such a snob about montages, and this movie killed the montage.
Okay.
With all of them transferring powers, whenever they use it, they finally see the villain, and they know they're going to meet the villain again, and they're like, we got to learn how to do this together. Mm-hmm. And it's a really good montage that's fun. It's actually exciting. It's edited well, and they're learning how to throw like balls together with each other, and like one will throw up, and then they'll transfer to another person and use their power. And it's a really effective scene that leads up to a final scene where they're actually using the powers that justifies it, you know? Mm-hmm. I thought it was really effective, thought it was really fun, and I'm like, man, these 3 are humming. I could actually watch another movie with these 3.
I absolutely agree, and I think it was cool when the first time they get into a fight, before they realize what's happening with the power switching, it's a total mess, as you would imagine, right? So it's like as if every time I use my power, throw a punch, or whatever my power may be, I get transferred into Assad's body, right?
Let's try it.
Ready?
Yeah.
So it's like you're transporting time. So every time I am fighting, maybe I'm fighting you, and then all of a sudden, once I use my power, I'm maybe fighting this other person, or I'm in a completely different universe doing something else. So you have to kind of like figure out where you're at and stuff. So they had this really cool montage where they were honing that skill and kind of using it to their advantage rather than it just happening to them, right? And I think that that's what you're saying. It was very effective. I agree. It was really fun, lots of energy. And then when they end up using it well, it just makes those scenes so, like I was talking about, kind of TikTok editing. It's like really quick and zippy from thing to thing. Again, the villain didn't really work for me. I remember Christian Bale in that God of War and Thunder, Love and Thunder or whatever.
He was the God Butcher, yes.
He was like he's one of my favorite actors. And in that I was like, what is happening? What are they doing with this villain? He was so dark and like...
You didn't like that, huh? We never talked about that. I liked him in that.
No, cut that whole part out and lift it out, and
we
that
don't
movie
disrespect Christian Bale on this podcast.
I love Christian Bale. I just said that.
Me and you are fucking done, man. So unprofessional, man.
Why are you bringing up...
Fuck, man?
Wow. Can anyone live? Can anyone make a mistake?
Guys, as a big Christian Bale fan, he had a rant on set where someone recorded it. If you haven't heard it, play it back. It's good stuff. One of his best performances since Dark Knight.
It's terrible. It's terribly not cool. Anyways, did you like this movie?
Honestly, I genuinely enjoyed this film. The positives were so much more outweighing than the negatives for me. I'll talk about the positives, which is like the camaraderie between the three, having to sit with 2 hours with Kamala Khan, which I love that character.
Ugh.
She held up the movie for me. And I didn't feel like the problem that I always have in other superhero movies. It's like, oh, I'm bored in the second act, and then we're leading up to this final fight that I don't care about. The second act took care of me with the montage and got me actually excited for them to use their powers. The other stuff that didn't work, obviously the musical part was a big miss for me. Samuel Jackson is so underused in these, but I think he signed like a 20-movie Marvel deal for like $800 billion, and I think he's God now. I think they made him God. And he's in movies for like 7 minutes. So that's always just weird, always seeing like a great actor like Samuel Jackson be underutilized, but that's just his role now in this. And then, you know, the other big miss for me was all the kitten stuff didn't work for me. Whether they were eating humans to transport them in emergency or where they were flying around being cute. It just didn't work for me.
It worked for me.
Yeah? Oh, you're a big kitten person. Me too. You know, Sarah's adopted multiple kittens. Like, she's that person that will go to a shelter for one kitten, bring home 4, raise them, clean them with Dawn soap, teach them choreographed running. And, okay, so am I exposing too much about you?
How much of this do we think is true? Fans, friends, family
90%
members.
Of it was, though.
What? I adopt a lot of cats? Is that what I do? I adopt them and I wash them with Dawn soap?
How about you, overall, of this film?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it worked. I wouldn't say I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It worked. It was fun. I left feeling happy and like, oh, that was fun. And that was the most I could have possibly hoped for in this. I was really not expecting it. I would like to point out a little thing I noticed. As much as we all love Brie Larson's tank top here at DTF and Last Second C, I think it was a poor choice. Let me tell you why. You see this little mic wire? It's attached to a microphone. There is a scene where I think it was her and what's her name in this? Captain Rambeau. I don't know. They made a whole thing about trying to figure out a better name for her. So I was trying to figure out what those were. But Captain Rambeau were like working on something mechanical, and Brie Larson's kind of it's probably this exact scene. She's got her overalls kind of like wrapped around her waist, and she's just got this tight shirt on, and you can see the mic wire, which you don't usually.
You don't think it was like a bra wire or like lining of the tank?
Maybe it was running down the back of her. So
oh, interesting. That's funny.
I don't know, and more likely than not, because with big budget movies like this, I'm like, there's no way that slipped through. It's probably something else that I'm assuming is that. You know what I mean? I think someone else would have seen that and been like, you know, CGI it out, or it wouldn't have been there in the first place. They probably have microphones without wires now. I mean, these days, honestly. But I did think I saw that. So if you are going to go see this, keep an eye out for that. It's like she's doing something mechanical, and it seems to be like running down her back. I thought that was a little like, oops.
Can I spoiler alert this?
Yeah, please. We've spoiler alerted the whole thing.
Third act, final act of the movie, you know, there's this slight hole opening up in the atmosphere that's bound to swallow up all of Earth. Monica Rambeau sacrifices herself to try to seal it.
Oh, yeah.
And then ends up on the other side of it. And then she looks back at her former teammates, Kamala Khan and Captain Marvel, and says, I always knew I had to do this, which what was the first mention of it? And I'm not trying to critique like the writing of Marvel films, you know? It was very like shoehorned in, and you're like, oh, they probably edited out 2 scenes that led up to make that making sense. But it's the last thing. But so for what we see as fans, like Monica Rambeau is gone, and Kamala Khan and Captain Marvel return to Earth newly saved.
Yeah, I wrote down, and I wrote down like, what? They just threw that in there just to make the movie make sense?
Yeah.
Just like one line to be like, I always knew it would be this way. And you're like, what? You did? Did you want to tell us about that? We could have saved ourselves 2 hours. Like, I don't know.
It seems like an opportunity where they could use ADR, and this seems like an opportunity where, like, I like telling our supporters about stuff like this that they might know or might not know. Like, should we do an ADR bid or no?
Oh, sure.
You know, ADR is used, I don't know what it stands for. Sarah, do you?
I never have
Audio,
known.
something,
After something recording.
There's many uses for it, but like, let's just say a scene doesn't hit and you're like, oh, I wanted to get more information out of that scene. So me and Sarah in a scene, and I'll be like, hey, I got to go to the store.
Oh, for what?
And then that's the scene, you know? And then the director could be like, that didn't work. And then
Right.
like, they can, ADR, they'll bring me back in and be like, maybe we should add more context and just take the edit and put it on Sarah's shot, and I can be like, hey, I got to go to the store for eggs because we're running out.
okay, great.
And then that's your movie magic, right?
Or then you would switch to him to get my line, which would be like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Right? So when you're not looking at the person who's talking, sometimes that might be why, sometimes it's
Yeah.
an editing choice, sometimes it's an acting choice.
Yeah.
But yes, I did read that this was heavily cut up, heavily changed in post, meaning after they had wrapped the filming. So there's like a scene, I don't remember who she's talking to, it might be Monica, but Captain Marvel's sitting on a bed talking to somebody, and the whole time she's talking, you're just like looking at the back of her head, which, you know, she's the hero of this film.
Mm-hmm.
She's the star. It's her name on the, you know, in the title. And you're not watching her talk, like that might be a hint as to why. Another reason is they got bad audio on it, but you know, movies like this, that doesn't happen as often.
Or there's sometimes where you're hiding a bad performance too. You know,
Yeah.
like let's just go to the back of the head of somebody. It's not optimal, but we want to hide a bad performance.
Yeah, and
So-
I doubt that was the case with Brie Larson.
Yeah, I sensed a lot of that, and I've sensed a lot of ADR. And once, like, I know we ruined a lot of things for fans here on DTF, but like once you start seeing ADR in TV shows and
Oh,
film,
it's-
you'll never unsee it. You're like, oh, they ADR'd that. It's like, because it's really hard to do. You have to match like the tone of your voice, the room tone and everything. So like even on if you're watching like Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay, they do it all of the time, and it's the worst fucking thing ever, you know. But yeah, I sensed a lot of that in this movie, and I was like, oh, they could have just ADR'd that last part with Monica Rambeau, maybe justifying why she said that. But I think like there's decisions that were made, and the movie was already done at that point.
Yeah, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? How do you feel? Are you ready to move on to my Rose and Thorn?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So my Rose is Iman Vellani. She played Ms. Marvel, or is it Miss Marvel? It's MS period. So that's Ms. right?
I'm embarrassed that I haven't known that my whole life what that means.
Yeah. So Miss, apparently, this is, you know, old school etiquette, but Miss is a young woman who is unmarried. Ms. is an old woman who's unmarried, and Mrs. is a married woman.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
So that's why I thought it was weird that she's Ms. I think that was always been my understanding. You know,
Yeah.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
I thought old women that were unmarried were called jaded or hurt.
Hurt.
Okay.
Angry at the world. Dried up. Iman Vellani is the woman we've been talking about as the bright light of this movie, the breakout star. I hope to see her in many, many more films to come, and I hope that she gets everything that she wants in this life, because she was just like, she brought me a lot of joy for an hour and a half, and that was great. And her whole family, their whole dynamic, I loved all the interactions. I think they nailed the energy and the fun, and that makes so much sense. I didn't think that about them having a show already, but that makes so much sense that chemistry was maybe already there. If you've seen the Marvels, Ms. Marvel, the show, please tell us if it's worth watching.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go back and watch it just for this young lady, but it would be I would be closest to going to watch a Disney show because of her. And I thought she just nailed it. The whole family, the chemistry. I loved their whole thing. And I think she really won this movie for me. So that's my Rose. What's your Rose?
I'm going to keep it funky. Because of my financial situation, I might not have a Disney login. If anyone wants to share their Disney login, I'm kind of in between pay periods.
Yeah, that brings me to another point. You owe me like $800.
Can we save it? You said you weren't going to do this on the pod.
Save the money? I'd like to.
I'll Venmo you.
Oh no, the
God
lights
damn it.
went out again. The lights went out because we did not pay the bill. Assad did not pay the bill.
My Rose.
Okay, sure, your Rose. Let's hear it.
Guys, this is a spoiler alert. We don't do a good enough job on this pod of being like, hey, this is a real spoiler. This is the stinger at the end of the movie, because my Rose and Thorn is the same thing. So pause, honestly, if you don't want to know the stinger at the end of the film. My Rose and Thorn is the same thing. For a long time with Marvel and the Marvel Universe, I've always thought DC had better characters, but the Marvel Universe had X-Men, man. And they're so fucking cool, you know? Like, and my Rose and my Thorn is the same thing. After Monica Rambeau drifts off into this alternate universe, she ends up and sees her mom, who doesn't even know her because it's a different universe, and she's a superhero. And Beast from the X-Men walks in, and I'm like, yes, I've been waiting for Marvel to introduce the X-Men for like 5 years. And it was so exciting to have X-Men. Beast even mentions Professor Xavier, Charles Xavier. So in their universe, and Kelsey Grammer even plays Beast, who played him in the old X-Men. But then they CGI'd the hell out of Beast, and it looked fucking awful. So the Rose was the introduction of the X-Men, me getting excited that it's a real thing now. But the Thorn was the execution of the CGI. I don't know if I'm fucking crazy, Sarah, but I always would rather makeup instead of CGI for something like that.
Girl, me too. Me too. All of the CGI stuff has gone way too far.
Yeah.
It's not for me, and I would love someone to just drop an example. I get it. I think we should utilize the technology. I think it can be used sparingly and it works. However, watching an entire film with someone who is a cartoon character that's not a cartoon character, it doesn't work for me. I don't like it. Maybe I'm a curmudgeon, maybe I'm old and that's the way that things will go. But I mean, honestly, that's probably when we get to trailer trash. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, and I would like to maybe revisit one of our favorite segments is firing something. CGI, and another big one, making old people younger with CGI. I was watching Indiana Jones.
Oh, dear.
And the last pearl of wisdom something, and they made him young for the first 25 minutes of the film.
We talked about this on the pod.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay.
No, that's okay. You don't have to stop talking about it, but holy guacamole.
Tough one. Okay.
Because I think it can work when it's like for a second far away, right?
Yes.
But when we get into like we did with the Indiana Jones, oh boy, we're this close to his face.
Yeah.
There's a light shining in his eyes because he's being interrogated. And you know, if you've seen a CGI person, you know that it's the eyes that really give it away, right? And his eyes are just like, you know, and you're just like, what?
What's going on here? What's going on?
Guys, like, we're not dumb. We're pretty dumb, but we're not that dumb.
Not that dumb.
Like we might believe it for, like I said, a couple of seconds, but they lived in the beginning of that Indiana Jones movie for 30 minutes. So if you're expecting us to sit through an X-Men movie and live with that, you know,
Beast, yeah.
It's not great.
What's your thorn, kiddo?
I will say quickly, since we're talking about X-Men, did you know, you might not know this about me, that growing up, my brothers were really into X-Men, the cartoon, like on Saturday mornings. You know how it was like Saturday mornings was cartoon? Is this?
I think that's probably the best, my favorite cartoon of all time.
Really? I didn't know that.
That Saturday morning X-Men was great.
Yeah, so we used to watch it because the boys liked it, so I was just like, okay, cool, and they'd explain things to me. Beast was always my favorite character because I thought he was so cool because he wasn't interested in like fighting at all. He was just this.
Beast was your favorite character out of the X-Men?
Yes, because he would always hang upside down and read, and I thought that was really sweet. And they'd be like, "Come on, Beast, we need you. Let's go fight." And he was like this reluctant, you know.
There, he was a jacked librarian.
He was like, yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I would say
Who's
if
yours?
we pulled 100 people Family Feud style, Beast would only be like 2 or 3 people's favorite. That's cool that he was your favorite.
Who's yours? Storm? Storm was my second favorite, maybe.
I'm unoriginal. I just think Wolverine's such a badass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I just think Wolverine's such a badass. You know,
love-
like for someone that has been hurt as much as I've been hurt, the fact that he can heal really well is something that I've always like wanted. Never mind.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
you know, if he can heal, I can heal.
You need adamantium.
Yes.
Is that right? Was that anywhere near close?
No,
Did I
you
do
nailed it? That's the right metal.
Hey,
You
is that that's not a real metal.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Can we inject it into you and find out?
Yes.
Okay, great. My thorn was the villain. We kind of already talked about it. Darbin, played by Zawe Ashton. Probably not pronouncing that correctly. I did look it up. She didn't do it for me. Now, again, I don't think this was her fault. I think she's British, so she's probably like a phenomenal actress. I just think it was, you know, the actual building of that character didn't work for me. She had like a pretty braid in her hair. And may I also just quickly nitpick, these color contacts, they don't do it for me either. Like that bugs me too. It's like you can't see their eyes. It's almost like, okay, it's very apparent you're wearing purple contacts. I don't know. Does that do anything for you? I guess it
they
can
have
be.
Idris Elba do it in the Marvel universe too, and like the Thors, and it doesn't work.
It's distracting, right?
Yeah, it's more distracting than it is effective for me.
And like we all know it's fake. It's not like, oh, cool, what's that?
Yeah, like in this is random, but remember like what's the new Game of Thrones called? House of Dragons. When they had black people that had all like white hair, I was like, I know this is a thing. But,
Yeah, you're trying to make it a thing, but it feels a little like weird and offensive. I don't know. I didn't. It's like let's make the black people look white with like blue eyes and white hair. It's like I don't know.
Okay, while we're at Wokeisha Corner, can I have Wokeisha Corner? This movie was cool, man. I dug it. It's not like something I would strongly recommend, but I'd probably go see it again, to be honest with you, in theaters. And you know, originally this had like a huge like pushback from incel community who was like, oh, we want a hotter Captain Marvel and we want a different Captain Marvel, and like it became more about shitting on a woman's opportunity to lead a superhero film, which Captain Marvel was the first one because like Black Widow came after, remember? You know, then like the weird male weirdos that love keyboards were just like, oh, I don't like this, but. You know, the movie hasn't been a success yet financially. You know, domestically it did $44 million in the opening weekend. I think it cost like $250 million to make, $275 million. So it's been wildly publicized that it's one of the biggest tanks in Marvel Universe. That's not. I just want to say my Wokeisha Corner. It's like these things we have to support. You know, like it's a female director, an all-female cast in the major roles. You know. And sometimes when we give opportunity to people and it doesn't turn out, we're like, oh, it's because of that reason. No, this was a bad film, and like Marvel's been in a real bad way. But like, it's really refreshing to me that I got to go see a big budget film led by a women and with no like male dominant role in it, and had fun in it, you know. And the more we empower these voices, I'm like, this is cool, man. I can get used to this. You know, it's like more diversity on my screen. And this didn't specifically tell a unique story from that lens, but it's just refreshing to have. And I thought it's important to kind of like highlight that, you know, because sometimes we'll like, oh, Ghostbusters with women didn't work. It was because of the women. It's like, no, the Ghostbusters fucking sucked, you know?
Yeah, it would have sucked with men too.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. And I do think like we've talked about on this pod before, how when people don't get the opportunity to become great, they say what you need to do, put in 10,000 hours at anything to become an expert at it.
Yeah.
How is a black female director supposed to get her 10,000 hours in when nobody is giving her a chance?
Yeah.
When how is, you know, Brie Larson supposed to know how to be this like big money-making Marvel machine when she hasn't had the chance? Now, of course, that's a bad example because like you don't get the chance till you get the chance. But with the director and with the female leads, it's like give them the shot, give them the opportunity, and the more reps they get in, the better they're going to be. You can't expect someone to walk for the first time and just be really, really good at it.
Yeah.
But I think I was surprised to hear that this movie was getting panned. I genuinely had a fun time in this movie.
It's fun as fuck.
I recommend going to see it.
Yeah.
I highly recommend going to see it. It was just fun and easy and exactly what kind of I want from a Marvel movie. And I think it worked.
Yeah.
I think it really worked.
It did.
So great job, ladies. Great job, Brie. Great job, everybody else, especially my new hero, Aman Vellani.
Our president.
Our president. Aman for president. We are...
Trailer trash, or what do we do? Gummy rating?
We're at that time. Gummy rating. I would give this movie 1.5 gummies.
Okay.
Out of 5. So if you're new to the pod, 0 is the best score you can get, and 5 is the worst score you can get. I'm giving this a 1.5. It wasn't perfect. It had some moments that didn't work, but it was really, really fun overall. Go see it high. Go see it sober. Either way, it'll be great. And that's my gummy rating, which brings us to trailer trash.
Fuck that Bob Marley trailer.
Are you?
All right? Guys, stop. Stop. Leave Bob alone. What did he do? He wanted to bring love and peace via guitar and reggae music. And now you make it with some light-skinned nigga that's like 6'4" that probably should be a shooting guard for the Lakers. And he's like, whoa, love, man. What are we whoaing?
That felt racist.
Listen, man, like we fired biopics last time. I think we just need to revisit that. Guys, stop making these music movies. No one's done it well. I think and if you do it, if you're going to do it, get a real fucking director. You know, put some money into it. Have respect for these people's career. What, man? Can I cook? Am I taking it too serious?
Dang, you're just talking shit about the director who directed it. You don't even know.
I mean, I don't care. I'm cool. I might go see it. I'm chill. Let's vibe. Let's vibe right now. I'm cool. Yeah, I love reggae music. you know. Sarah.
Hold on. Look at us. I don't know what he's talking about either. He's really on one. How's my Brie Larson face?
It's not bad. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, you know. Can I admit something? Is this a safe space?
Sure, I'm nervous.
It took me just 2 years ago till I realized Eminem was for Marshall Mathers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. This I didn't realize. You know, Bad Boys, What You Gonna Do is a Bob Marley song.
No.
I didn't know that.
I knew it was a real song. Like I'd heard the real version of it. I knew it wasn't just but I didn't
song?
quite know that it was him.
The irony of it being a Cops song from Bob Marley is kind of hilarious. But okay, that was my bad trailer. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, what was your good trailer?
Guys, listen. We live in a world that is owned, operated, and functioned by the best actor currently working today. You might see her on The Curse with Nathan Fielder if you guys have Showtime. It's a really oddball fake reality show. We just got off of Revisit on La La Land. I did that on the plane. Emma Stone is the most important actress working right now. Poor Things has another trailer out. This movie, look, I don't know what my guarantee is, but this movie will be great. This movie will be phenomenal. It'll win a lot of awards, probably mostly on Emma Stone, who is crushing everything moving. Sarah hates on her. Don't know why.
I disagree.
She's fucking phenomenal. She played Asian once, and Sarah hates her because she played Asian once.
Oh my God.
No, I saw Poor Things again, another extended trailer, and it's even more time of her cooking, and I'm like, this movie's gonna be fucking good, guys. We should do a prediction show, because whatever my guarantee is, you have Assad's 5-star guarantee to spend your money on Poor Things. I saw the new trailer and was really ecstatic about it. I think it's gonna be great.
No.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I think it might be good. I think it might be okay.
Hate.
I think it might be okay. Your
Hate.
least favorite actor's in it too, by the way.
Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah.
Oh man, I struggle a little bit with Mark Ruffalo.
I really do love Willem Dafoe though. I've loved him since he played Green Goblin in Spider-Man. I thought he was so good. I don't know, my
Really?
teenage self was like, this guy's a really good actor. Yeah, and
No
Doc
kidding.
Ock too. The guy who played Doc Ock. What's his name? It's not here. But yeah, I think they're both really good actors. And I was like, oh, these guys are really, really good. So I do like him. I do like Emma Stone. Don't listen to him. I do like Emma Stone. I just don't. I think this movie looks a little weird, and it might be good, or it might be really fucking weird.
Guys, it's gonna be phenomenal. I guarantee it.
Well, if Assad says so, it must be right. My trailer trash. Most excited to see a movie called The Fall Guy. We've got Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Apparently, it's a remake / film version of a 1980s sitcom, which I had never heard of. It looks a little weird. It looks a little might be quirky and kooky and a little not great, but I love these two beautiful idiots. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling are just two of my favorites, so I think it's going to be good. And it looks like in tone very similar to that movie. Do you remember seeing that movie, The Nice Guy or Nice Guys?
Yeah, that was really funny.
And it was funny and weird, and we saw Ryan Gosling playing this kind of different character.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really been leaning into that. So we'll see how it goes, but I think he's, hot take. I think he's just so charming. And I think where he goes, I'll follow. So Fall Guy, Emily Blunt, and Ryan Gosling is what I'm most excited to see from the previews we got. And least excited.
Wait, hold on. I got to talk about Fall Guy. Ryan, it's me, Assad. Hi. Met you at One Oak, remember? I told you. Remember, I was the one that told you, hey, do less talking in your movies. And you're like, okay. And you've just been booming ever since. I don't need to thank you. You're in dangerous territory of doing the goofy thing a little too much, man. At this point in your career, I think you're 40-something. You've done the goofy thing. You're funny. We know you're funny. I think it's time to take some serious fucking dramatic roles. I know you've done The Brooding. The Fall Guy looks quirky, and it's probably going to be funny. But I want you to take your movie roles serious as you take your career. Let's do some drama here. Let's do an indie. Let's do an A24 film. Because I don't want to say it, but you're edging close to Ryan Reynolds territory. Okay, back to you, Sarah.
Quick question.
Yes.
How many more dramatic films would you like him to do? Because we've got him in Blue Valentine.
Okay.
Drive.
Fire.
La La Land.
Fire.
First Man.
Fire.
Blade Runner.
Fire as fuck.
So
Damn, this white boy doesn't miss, low key.
The Place Beyond the Pines. These are all
Those
dramatic.
are all really good. Hey, Ryan, scratch that last part. It's me, Assad. I apologize. Well, what do I know?
What do I
live
know?
in a
Don't listen to
one-bedroom
me.
apartment in Koreatown. You know, you're probably doing great. Tell Eva Mendes I said hi. Would love to see her.
And I
act
also
more.
love that your 40-year-old take on the hot club is still One Oak. He's just like, yeah, we met at One Oak. Like, that's the only club you know, and you're like, that's
I
still
know
the cool
more.
club.
There's Three Oak.
I almost just spit my freaking water out over my computer. I swear to Christ, Assad. Okay, back to me. If I may finish, can I get my round off?
Sorry, my fault.
Least excited to see the Planet of the Apes. Who are these movies for?
My God.
Who
cook,
are these?
Cook food, Sarah.
Who are these movies for? If you like these movies, please, genuinely, I'm asking because I've never seen one of them. So maybe they're cool and there's something to them that's like, yeah. I don't want to see a CGI version of an animal walking around like a human, talking like a human. Why not just cast humans? I'd rather watch that. Like, I don't understand why it has to be a human looking like an ape, and then you're just like watching them walk around and be like, hey, Sally, are we safe? What's going on? We're under attack. And then their eyes are doing the same thing that I was talking about earlier. Like, it's just so strange. It doesn't work. I don't understand it. Let it die. They've got to be expensive, right? Isn't CGI really pricey? Maybe not anymore, but
Yeah, it's. I'm with you 100% on this. Thank you
don't
for
get it.
mentioning this. I saw this trailer too, and I'm surprised. Well, Bob Marley made it, so I didn't highlight it as my worst one. But yeah, it's and it's one of those movies where I sound old, but it's definitely one of those movies where I'm like, how many how many of these are there? Because I've barely even seen one. You know.
yeah, I don't understand it. There's obviously some sort of big cult following behind it. And, you know, as we've discussed and everybody knows by now, we're just worried about making our money back. That's all
Yes.
that these filmmakers care about anymore. There's no art being put into anything. There's no care. There's no, you know, it's just such a bummer with these. I understand there's different types of films, but it's starting to feel a little bit like it's only about the bottom line. It's only about making our money back, about making, rather than like, hey, we forgot we started doing this for art. We started doing this so that people could go and feel something. And this is just like so strange to me.
Little diatribe from Sarah. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm with you. It's like known properties have been just like taking care of us for the last 10 years, and some of it's good and most of it's bad. But yeah, I appreciate you always trying to pitch a new known property, Hollywood. But like, we want to see something new, man.
Yeah, it's just a bummer.
Yeah.
And we have seen some exciting movies we're going to talk about.
Yes.
But we did like this film. I highly recommend going to see it. It was really fun. You don't have to. It's not one of those. Like Ant-Man Quantumania, I just felt like was such a sloth to watch. Is that how you say that word? I don't remember now. It was just such a bummer to watch. You're just like, what am I supposed to understand about this, and why is this so important? This was a little bit. Look how surprised Brie is.
Do you like my movie?
She's so surprised. She's like, you take back everything you said about me? I love you, Brie. I think you're great. I just thought you were miscast. It's not your fault. I think you're a really good actress. I love you. I love you so much.
Can I give you our last segment? It's a new segment, and I didn't tell you before.
I'm not surprised you're springing something on me. Let's hear it.
Perfect double feature for this film. What is it, Sarah?
Oh, what's another female? Ooh, Bottoms.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It should probably be another Marvel movie, but I don't know. I was thinking like female-led, kind of fun, quirky films. Like, but yeah, give me a cool like actiony movie. What's yours?
Ooh, well, it's not cool and actiony, but maybe like Sunshine Cleaning. Get a little female camaraderie about two sisters that are estranged cleaning. I think that's kind of cool.
Sunshine Cleaning is like pretty depressing, even though I really like that movie.
Yeah. Okay, well, fuck me then.
Yeah. See yourself out. I mean, what are we thinking? You came up with a segment and you didn't even have a good answer.
I blew it.
You blew it.
Ever since I had to apologize to Ryan Gosling, I look like fucking a fool here.
You really made a fool out of yourself.
blew it.
Everyone's
TMZ
talking about
covered
it.
I'm ruined in this industry.
You are ruined. You and me are done, man. Yeah, so that brings us to the conclusion of our The Marvels podcast. Highly recommend going to see it. And we've got it's that time of year, friends. We've got a lot of movies coming out.
Yeah, bangers.
A lot of good ones. A lot of could have been a contender. I don't know what that's from, but it's a line from a movie, I bet. And we got a lot of Oscar buzz, a lot of like really fun, good, interesting movies that we've seen and that we are going to podcast about. So please come back and listen next week. Go see this movie. If you are going to see it, hopefully you held off on listening to the pod and you'll come back and listen after so you can tell us your opinions. And that's it for us. Thanks so much for being here.